I don't know if people need to see that. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, what do we got to lose? Our minds. Yeah, I sure can. How's it going there, Irfan?
Not good, Lewis. Not good at
Worse
all.
by the second.
There we go. Thank you, Jeff, for that heads up. I don't know why that keeps happening. That is frustrating, though, but you should be able to hear me now. So thanks to Jeff. Thanks to Vince. Shout out to Vince. Shout out to Roddy Ross. Yep. Got it. Working. Roger. Oh, my goodness. Look at the viewers pouring in. They want to know what we think of the Vision Pro. Are you ready to go full vision, Lewis? You only have partial vision now, but you're going to go full vision.
What are those things called? The power, the Marvel things? I can't remember. Infinity Stone.
The
Infinity Stone, right between the eyes.
You would actually look pretty cool with the Infinity Stone installed in your forehead.
I got the forehead for it.
Yeah, you got plenty of space to install it.
I could use a
You could fit the
giant
whole collection on
Infinity
there.
Stone.
You can fit the entire setup there, Lewis. Master of the universe. Hey, you know
HR
what?
will be hearing from me directly after this.
I can't make fun of you. My forehead's getting longer by the day.
I'm differently foreheaded. Come on.
Differently foreheaded. Oh, man. Okay, look. Enough of these immature jokes. We need to get this show rolling. And Mrs. D, she's dying to get the show going. So if you're all ready, you got your recordings going, right? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Don't even tell me,
Oh,
Lewis.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get this thing rolling because I want to talk about Vision Pro. I love the name, by the way. That's way better than anything that we heard. Vision Pro is actually a cool name. All right. Mrs. D. Wait.
Full start.
Mrs. D. We're ready to start the show. I can't wait to get El Caney in my vision. That's not too bad, actually, this time, Lewis. In the bedroom. Oh, I spoke too soon. I really do need to do Lou face reaction cam so we can just have that on the Mrs. D screen. It's too good. All right. Free floating iPad apps for the rich. Yeah. Wait, sorry. Wasn't it Joe Rosignol who said that on Twitter? That actually cracked me up. I thought that was pretty funny, I have to say. All right, let's go ahead and get into WWDC talk. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, I'm going to start the music. We'll get this thing rolling in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Irfan Elijah. Join me today. He'll soon be using Vision Pro to visualize new discipline techniques for the Cult of Mac writers and identify areas of potential escape in the writer's cage. He's the managing editor for Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Oh, thank goodness. What a week.
This will be one of the last time we see his eyes.
Haven't slept all week.
Also with us, he's been typing nonstop since Monday's keynote without sleep or food. Nothing but a bottle of water and a motorman's friend. The laugh. I thought I would get Lewis on that one. Nothing. He's the newest writer at Cult of Mac. Griffin Jones is here. Motorman's friend, Lewis.
I'm glad that that's finally becoming a commonly used term. People start to understand exactly what that piece of technology is.
I mean, that technology is probably going to be more ubiquitous than the Vision Pro at $3,500, I have to say. All right. Well, you all know what we're going to be talking about. We have so much stuff in this show. I honestly don't even think we're going to be able to get through all this stuff. I mean, I always think it took Apple 2 hours of concise messaging and positioning to get through this show, and we're supposed to do it in 30 minutes. Well, we know that's not happening. So we'll get through as much of this stuff as we can. We'll, of course, talk about Vision Pro, and I'll be curious to see if anyone cares, because I still don't know, to be honest. Like, I'm watching all these people do videos on the Vision Pro on YouTube, and I'm looking at the view counts for these videos, and I'm like, they're not super high. So
I will say I got
throttled.
I got a lot of follow-up texts from people who do not read Cult of Mac. I've never listened or watched a tech podcast. A lot of people asking me about the Vision Pro headset.
You mean like normies in your life?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like my mom.
Does your mom want one?
She's curious.
Okay. The only thing that I've heard is $3,500, huh? Just people complaining about the price. That's about it. But okay, well, we'll talk all about that. Let's see here. What else do we have? We're going to be talking about, someone put a bunch of personal reviews in here. That's good. I don't know if we'll have time to read those. We'll see. So iOS 17 tidbits, tons of great stuff in iOS 17. We probably won't regurgitate everything that was talked about in stage, but I was going to go through some of the hidden features, some of the stuff that I thought was cool in iOS 17, since everyone will benefit from that, right? It's going to be free. We have an all-new giveaway, of course. We have a great new feature coming to tvOS. We'll talk about all the new Macs. Oh, dude, this is not happening. We do not have time to do all this stuff. If we have time, we will also wrap up with the results of our WWDC predictions that we did last week. I know who won. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, we can cut that segment.
If we have time, we'll do it. If not, well, at least we'll reveal the winner, who I'm certain cheated in some way, shape, or form. Before we dive in, let me say thanks to Electric Bikes for supporting this episode. You know what, Lewis? Father's Day is coming up. Father's Day, one of my favorite days of the year, where my family showers me with gifts. It's a whole day.
I was going to say showers you. That's great.
It's the one day of the year where I shower, Lewis. It's a gift for them as well. And, look at that big, beautiful coat cloth there. We'll talk about that later, I think. Electric Bikes, that is LECTRIC ebikes.com. Electric e-bikes, I should say. And they are the most affordable, high-quality bikes on the market, in my opinion. And if you want to do something special for Dad this year, I really mean this. If you want to get him a gift that he's actually going to love and you'll see him light up, get him an electric e-bike. I've been riding e-bikes for years, and they've come down a lot in price. And what I love about electric is the level of quality that you get for the price is unparalleled, in my opinion. They are portable, they're foldable, so you can actually take them with you, and they're really high quality, beautiful paint jobs. And the XP 3.0 is the one that I have. You can get it up to 28 miles per hour, which is super fast, plenty fast. It has pedal assist if you want to get some exercise and have your pedals be amplified by electricity. It makes it really easy to get around. Or you can just, crank on the throttle and go full lazy dad mode and just ride around. And you could literally replace a car with this. Like, if you don't have a long commute, you just putter around town like I do. You go to the grocery store, you go here and there. You could definitely replace your car with electric e-bike. It goes plenty fast. It's made of metal. The thing's built like a tank. And your dad will love it. He'll get lots of great exercise, and you don't even feel like you're exercising. And there's just something fun about cruising around town on a little electric bike. Here's what I would do. They have financing available. If you don't want to pay for it all at one time, I mean, it's only $1,000, which I say only. That is a lot, but in the realm of e-bikes, that's not very much money. But if you want to pay for it over time, with inflation, it's working in your favor, because now you're paying for it month by month, and the dollar, in a year's time is only going to be worth about, 20 cents. So you'll make out much better. You can finance a bike for a payment as low as $73 per month, and you can roam freely all over your town up to 28 miles per hour at the twist of a throttle or next level pedal assist. They cost way less than the competition's bikes, and as I mentioned, they're foldable, they ship free, and fully assembled. So like this thing shows up in a box, you literally unfold it, and it's ready to roll. Visit lectricebikes.com to learn more and explore the epic models Lectric has to offer. That's LECTRICE bikes.com. lectricebikes.com. And then thank you to Lectric for supporting this episode. I want to get my hands on their trike too. I wonder if they'll send me one. I have never ridden an electric trike, but it would be super cool to roll around town with one of these. You could probably carry like so much stuff in there. Oh yeah, look at that. Put your kid in the back of that thing. Cruise around on that bike.
I think this is what my wife needs because, we live in a hill in San Francisco. She's a little afraid of falling over, a bike. She's had a bike wreck before. And, pretty hard to tip over a trike. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm sure you could do it if you really tried, but that thing looks pretty awesome. Why would you, though?
Take a corner too fast? It's possible. Jeff Gruen saying, can I pull my fifth wheel camper with one? Of course. Yeah. Might reduce your battery life, but
yeah,
sure, it's possible.
I do hear electric things have a lot of torque, but that is true.
Like
it might be a bit of a big ask.
All right, here we go, fellas. What we've been talking about for years. We finally saw it. It kills me to say this, but Alex E. Heath's leak that he got at the information, what was this, like 2 years ago, was pretty accurate. When they first showed it in the keynote, I thought it actually looked way different. I actually tweeted that it looked way different. And the more I looked at it, I was like, no, it's just a back piece that threw me off. This thing looks a lot like the leaks that Alex E. Heath got. So, and he was in the Verge video. Did you see that, Lewis?
No,
I thought I recognized the voice. And then I saw this small, tiny little hand appear on screen. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because the voice is masculine, but that hand is so small and feminine. And then sure enough, it was Alex E. Heath. But I don't know. I had so many thoughts about this thing. What did you think, Lewis?
Well, what did I think? I thought, wow, that. The big surprise came at the end with the price tag, right? But I thought the headset looked pretty cool. It's hard to even fathom it, and after reading all I haven't put one on my head yet. And after reading all these things of people doing it, it's like, wow, it sounds kind of amazing. Just from the stuff that Apple showed, I thought that the way that they positioned this thing, with spatial computing and showing in all instances, showing just how, normal the real world looks, right? The very first thing in their video, the guy puts the thing on his head, and he see, what does he see? His room, exactly like his room, with some app icons floating in space, just like you're so used to seeing from your iPhone or your iPad. And the other genius thing, so they have all those ways that you can communicate with people, and people can come into your field of vision. All these things like that. Those to me were big important things that separate this from everything we've ever discussed about this, having a headset on your head, right? Suddenly you don't have a blinder box on your head. You're wearing goggles that let you see the world and let other people see, come into that world. And one of the most genius things I think of all was showing so many interactions between the, people in the office and stuff. And when they're talking about the guy in the background in the office, he's just standing there, typing away, working away with his little headset on. Completely normal. Nothing to see here, folks. Everybody's going to have one of these. Prepare for this in your workplace. So, that aspect of it I thought was genius. And I thought that the sort of way that the front-facing panel looks, a little creepy, and also who actually knows what that's going to look like? I'm guessing that's all CGI, maybe not even real. Who knows? Maybe it was real, but it sounds like they didn't have that aspect of this device working at any of the demos, right?
Oh, they didn't? I thought they did.
I've not heard anybody talking about how that. Of course, maybe it's because they had it on their head, but I didn't hear anybody actually talking about it. And all they had was those things on, headset on a stick, right? Most of the people who walked in there,
on a stick.
They saw a headset on a stick. They did not see what the actual thing looks like, and I have not yet read. And maybe it's out there. I mean, there's so many people that got these hands-on things, and so many, but they all very carefully curated. 30 minutes, after little. Shocking how many golf cart trips I've read about in the past week. Everybody gets on a golf cart and goes to the special secret location and gets the thing strapped. They all go through all the same exact things, but what they have to say about it is very interesting.
I just want to say real fast, if you're watching the stream live, this thumbnail for this YouTube video from Marquez Brownlee is what literally every tech YouTuber had in their video this week, and it's just their face with the Vision Pro photoshopped onto their face, so it looks like they're wearing it. I mean, every single YouTube video I have seen is using this thumbnail. Apple definitely pulled out all the stops for this. They invited every YouTuber, even YouTubers that are not big, and it was smart because I think part of the I'm gonna make up a word, enamoration that you're seeing out there.
Enamoration.
It's group. It's a group effect, Lewis. It's a group of people being enamored with the same thing. A big part of it is the Apple Store effect. When you go into Apple Park, Steve Jobs Theater, and everything is so beautiful, the architect is perfect, or the architecture is perfect, right? Like you have the trees and everything, and it affects you emotionally. And they were so happy to be there that it puts a gloss effect over their eyes. And I think that it's hard to know how good the headset really is because people are so happy just to be there, and they're
I feel like
thrilled
that's
to have
certainly
access
true of
to
like
it.
the people who might have been there as like their first Apple event, but
Yeah.
people who have been to Apple Park before, and people who have been going to Apple events for like over 20 years, all had the same reaction.
Yeah. Well, I think it is really super high quality, so I don't want to downplay that, but it's also, for me, it's a little hard to trust the impressions that everyone has because of that reason. It's like because they're so enamored just to be there and be a part of it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to hear what Griffin thinks. Griffin, your thoughts, your first impressions.
I have not put on the Apple headset, but I have tried headsets in the past. I've tried the Oculus Rift here and there, and I will say, I'm going to say I don't have to put it on to like be able to recognize that what the difference between this and the Oculus Rift is that like the Oculus Rift, it feels very much like it feels like comparing like a text-based computer to the Macintosh in a sense that like if you have ever dealt like with an ancient like computer from the 80s before a graphical user interface, like it boots up and you launch a program and then suddenly everything about that computer is running that program. Like it's a completely dedicated space. There's no like system level UI to take you back to the command line or anything. Like if you've ever dealt with like a Commodore 64, TRS-80, Apple II, they all work like that. And that's also kind of how the other headsets work. Maybe a more apt comparison that more people would relate to would be like a gaming console. Like you turn on an N64, you put on like, Super Mario 64, and then like everything about what you see and interact with is Super Mario 64. There's no way to go back to the N64 doesn't have a home screen or anything. Whereas Apple's headset is they're not positioning it like that. It's a computer in the sense that it does you have apps that you can move side by side. There's system level user interfaces underneath everything. This is the term spatial computer, I think, distills that into two words, and I think that's some brilliant play by their marketing.
Yeah.
This isn't a VR headset because this isn't VR. This is a spatial computer. I couldn't put it better than myself.
Yeah, there's a lot of. They obviously spent a lot of time figuring out how to sell this, and I mean, it's hard to imagine like a bigger skeptic about this than me. But I came away from that going, this actually looks promising.
Yeah, I kind of want one. I kind of want one. I don't think I would pay $3,500 for one. I think Marquez Brownlee kind of summed it up perfectly. He said it's a toy for rich people and a muse for developers. And I think at this point that is right. I mean, with tax it's almost $4,000 and there's not really any specific use cases that I see for it that would make me want to spend $4,000 except for the entertainment functionality. Like the thing that I really want to try is putting it on my head, and it's hard for me to imagine how having the two eye holes in it will unify once I have it on my face and make it feel as though I just am looking at the world without goggles on my face. It's hard for me to imagine that, although it seems like that actually works really well. And then being able to open up screens in virtual space, which is one of the things I've talked about for the longest time since we've talked about this, like the thing I'm most interested in, to be able to have multiple screens open or to have like a really cool immersive movie experience. Like that is worth something to me. It's not worth $4,000, but it's definitely worth something. Are you trying to say something, Griffin?
Another thing that I remember about the Oculus Rift, I mean, this was like the first generation product. It was still called the Oculus Rift. That's how long ago this was. But one of the things I very clearly remember is that once you put it on, it's you like one of the first things I noticed is, oh, this is like one of the first things you notice is how much smaller your field of view is. Like my glasses, if you ever wear glasses, like, your field of vision is only like the middle 80% of what you actually see, and then like your peripheral vision is kind of blurry. You put on a VR headset and it's like your inner 60% of your vision is what you can see, and the rest is pitch black. I think I just read John Gruber's reaction to the headset today, and he said it matches your field of view exactly.
Wow, now that is interesting.
It doesn't feel like it. There's no slight fisheye effect. It doesn't feel like it's a little too narrow. It exactly matches your field of vision, and the display isn't perfect, but it kind of feels like you're wearing like thick plastic safety glasses, and that there's a slight fuzziness to what you see, although it is much clearer than other VR headsets. Like the Oculus Rift is like you need to go to the eye doctor.
Dude, I don't even feel like the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive or any of those products should even be mentioned in the same sentence as this product, because this product is so transcendent of anything that those headsets have done. Those products, I mean, the Oculus is great. I've used it before, but it's like, janky low-level gaming. This is completely in a different realm than that. And hearing that it matches your field of view is actually really exciting to me, because that was one of the things I was wondering about. Like, when you put it on, do you feel like you're being immersed in another world, or do you feel like you're sitting in a room with a headset on, right? And it seems like it's going to be the former. Like, you're going to put this thing on, and you'll actually be tricked into thinking that you're in another place, able to look around, and you won't have any of the visual cues that you do with like the Oculus or the other headsets, that you're putting something on your head. Like, you actually truly get lost in this, which is exciting. Lewis, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say it sounds like they put a whole lot of thought into how the user interface works.
Yeah.
And people can't stop gushing about that either, and just I don't know how much people know about this, but I mean, you control this thing with your eyes, your voice, and simple hand gestures, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was Marquez Brownlee was talking about like the eye tracking was so astonishing. He's like, I don't use the word magical very, like just willy-nilly, but it felt like magic. Like the eye tracking was so great. You look at something, you look at the icon for the mail app, you tap your fingers together, boom, that app opens. I mean, that sounds pretty amazing.
The fact that the first thing you see when you put it on is exactly what you were seeing before, and it waits for you to push any button before it even shows like your list of apps. That is just beautiful design.
Yeah, that was actually one of my prime takeaways of the Vision Pro. First of all, great brand. Vision Pro, that's a great name, great brand for it. I mean, it's immediately sticky. It sounds cool. It sounds futuristic. So a really cool product name. It is as
cool a name and like as poetically resonant as like Honda Prelude, because I
also love the Honda Prelude.
Like the Honda Prelude was a slightly luxury version of the Honda Accord,
Uh-huh.
and the luxury features that they would test on the Honda Prelude would then come to the next generation of Honda Accord in a few years' time. So it was a bit of a pun in that sense, and I think Apple Vision it has the same energy in that name, in that this isn't just about the first generation product. This is their vision, for the next 20 years of what they're going to be doing.
I didn't even make that connection. That's genius. You're right. Well, the thing that struck me the most, well, a couple things immediately. Well, only Apple could have created this product. There is no company on earth
Okay, Tim.
that could have
Jeez,
made
I'm
this.
so tired of hearing that.
Well, I think it's true. I don't think Samsung would have made this. I just do not think that any company has the talent, the design talent, the ability,
The money.
and the capability to pull something like this together from so many different fields and technology. I mean, this is truly where art and technology collide. I mean, a lot of companies have the technology part down, but they don't have the art part down, and that is truly unique to Apple. The other thing that came to my mind was this is a marvel of user experience design. The UX designers on this project probably didn't get a lot of praise, but all the new human interactions they had to create that make you feel like you innately know how to use this device is a marvel of engineering. And one of the ones that really blew me away is when you're wearing these things and someone gets close to you, they like appear like an apparition in your view. Like there's like a hazy mist effect where they're not there, but then they kind of like are brought into your field of view. Like all those little interactions took an incredible amount of imagination and thought and testing, and to bring all of that together with the technology itself truly is incredible. And that's one of the other reasons why I say that only Apple could create something like this, because I think that this product is a product of Apple being a product. Think about that for a second, right? Like the company that Steve Jobs was able to create, like their ability to innovate and mix art and technology is something that is a product in and of itself, and it enables them to do stuff like this that no other company on earth could possibly do. There's a lot of great engineering companies out there, but the mix of artistry and technology is something that is unique to Apple.
I will say, if you want to know,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If there's anyone in the audience listening who wants to know like a lot of the nitty gritty details on how the user interface works, like how the buttons work, how the gestures work, I poured through the WWDC session videos. They were like over an hour long. There's an article on Cult of Mac called "Here's How Apple's Spatial Computing." I should remember the title. I wrote it. Here's how Apple thinks spatial computing works.
Yeah,
something like that.
Okay,
it'll
How
have it.
spatial user interfaces work in Vision OS.
Sure.
There you go. Okay, that's on the site. I could put a link to that in the show notes as well.
I just dropped one in the show notes there.
Ah, beauty.
So I don't know how much of these things we want to talk about other people's experiences with this, but
I think it's relevant.
I also read Gruber's thing about this, Daring Fireball, and he talked about all every aspect of it, right? But the part that he talked about with the sort of the more VR, well, I guess this is full VR aspects of this. He talked about two things: a butterfly and a dinosaur. Have you heard about this?
No.
He says he's got the goggles on, and it's like a portal opens in a wall across the room, and a small butterfly flies out of it and lands on his extended finger. And this is a quote: "This is so compelling that some of the media people who experienced it had their minds tricked into feeling the butterfly land. I did not, but I can see why they did."
I watched a review from Dan Barbera of Mac Rumors, and it was just him sitting in his hotel room, but I actually found his review to be quite compelling. And he made a similar statement. He said he was watching that scene where the birthday kids were blowing out the candles on the cake, and the smoke came towards him, and he thought he could actually feel it, which I thought was an interesting statement. I mean, he was gushing on it the whole time, but that was the thing. It was like completely contagious enthusiasm. Like, I don't think he was trying to fanboy. I think everyone that I've heard who got to wear the headset was genuinely, authentically impressed and amazed by what Apple was able to accomplish. And now we finally know why TC kept getting so giddy when he was talking about the future. But that's the other thing, and I feel like that's the next part of this conversation is, after seeing how amazing the device is, like, do I want one? Yeah, of course. But is there really a future for spatial computing? Is this really the next paradigm in computing? And that's really where I'm not sure. I don't know how well this is actually going to play out with normal people, because watching the keynote, I'm like, this is not going to replace your iPhone, because you're wearing it on your head. Like, the iPhone is a tool, and the tool needs to be in your hands in order for it to be effective, right? Not to mention, you don't want to be a glass hole. People don't want someone with a headset walking around all the time, and you're interacting with your family at a birthday party. This is the negative commentary that I heard. You don't want to be the person with a headset on at your kid's birthday party. Like, dude, come on. That's like the people that go to the concert and hold up their phones the whole time to record it and are watching the concert through the screen on their phone. I don't think socially that is going to catch on. So I don't think this is going to be a phone replacement, which means it's not going to be nearly as ubiquitous as I think Apple probably hopes. And then I'm like, okay, well, what device does this possibly replace? Because it's a hard sell to get people to spend this much money. And I was thinking, okay, well, a screen, obviously, it could replace your screen. It could replace your iPad. It could also potentially replace your Mac. I mean, not at this moment, but it could in the future just be your Mac. Like, you just wear this thing on your head, you interact with it in virtual space, or you have an actual keyboard, because who wants to type on a virtual, keyboard? But I'm still not totally sold that this is going to catch on as much as Apple hopes. Like, it kind of feels like it could go the route of like the HomePod, where it's a really amazing piece of technology, but just not enough people buy it because it's too expensive, or they don't see a place for it in their own life. Maybe in 10 years, they could make this thing small enough where people could just wear it around all the time, or take it on and off easily without having to have this giant thing on your head and a battery pack on your belt, because that obviously is going to encumber you, and you're not going to want to wear that out and around, especially in San Francisco, where it will be stolen within 10 seconds maybe. So I don't know. Like, I'm amazed by the technology. I think that is an accurate statement for anyone who is following like the Vision Pro. Like, people say that Apple nailed this. I think that's true. But is it going to catch on? That's where I'm still not sure. Is it going to be more than just a really high-end entertainment device, or a way to enhance your productivity? I think those are obviously like the two big use cases that I could see people buying this for. But for $3,500, that's obviously going to be a tough sell. But I don't know. What if it were $2,000? Would you buy this for $2,000? I think I would. I think I would buy this for $2,000.
Here's the thing on that, Burger. This is the first generation product, and I think this version, especially being as large and bulky as it is, will be like there will eventually be like an iPhone version of this product, whereas this is currently the Apple Newton. A little bit too big. You don't really want to take it anywhere. It doesn't quite fit in a pocket. It's slightly inconvenient, but you can see where they're going with it. And I also think about how like when the iPhone was first released, every subsequent iPhone for like the first 5 years didn't just sell better than every previous one. Every subsequent iPhone sold more than every prior iPhone combined. Like, the iPhone 3GS sold more than the 3G and the original. The iPhone 4 sold more than all three of them ever. The 4S sold even more than that. Like, every subsequent release of this product will be more successful than this one. They're probably not going to sell very many of these. And they're probably not going to sell very many until they come out with the SE version of it, the lower cost version, and definitely the lighter version. Like, I think it's weird that a few people have commented that it's kind of heavy on your head.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
There were rumors that they were going to use like more carbon fiber parts of this. Maybe that's, all of those rumors were actually just a reporting on a second generation model that'll be lighter weight than this one.
Yeah, the weight is going to be a big deal. And I have heard that people say after you have it on for a little while, like, people say, oh, well, it's really evenly distributed, but it feels heavy. It's like, okay, that means it's heavy. I mean, it looks heavy. It looks like a pair of AirPods Max, and those are heavy. Like, you put them on. I mean, they're lightweight for what they are, but they're not like the Sony headphones that are all plastic that can just sit on your head.
This is a
So,
really weird metaphor, but I
yeah.
think one time I was at like a convent, some sort of fair or something, and they were giving out like free slices of like cauliflower pizza or something. And the slices were extremely tiny.
Hmm.
And they were extremely tiny because if you eat more than 2 bites of it, you stop tasting pizza and you just taste cauliflower. Similarly, I think they gave all of these reviewers 30-minute demos, not least because that's probably the most complete software that they can show off in 30 minutes, but also any longer, and people will start complaining about the weight on their head.
Yeah, now that is an interesting theory. That is an interesting theory because if you sit there with them long enough, they might start to hurt your neck. I do like the idea of carbon fiber. Like that would be really cool if they just dialed out a lot of the metal and just made this thing carbon fiber so it's like ultra lightweight. That's what I mean. Like in 10 years, all the components of this will be smaller. They'll probably be able to shrink everything way down and make it a lot lighter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for this product. I'm not convinced that spatial computing is going to be as popular as Apple hopes, but I do see a pretty obvious use case for entertainment. But that all being said, I need to strap this thing on my head and take it for a ride. I really hope they demo this at the Apple Store. It's really hard to know hearing these firsthand accounts from YouTube reviewers. I mean, like I said, it's not that I think that they're lying, but I think a lot of them are enamored with the fact that they got to be at the Apple events. But then to your point, Griffin, I mean, there's the veterans who are there, like Marcus Brownlee, who's like also enamored, and he's hard to impress. I mean, so I think there's genuinely something special here, and I really am excited to try it. And if it's cool, maybe I'll see if I can get a discount on it and buy it. I'm not paying $3,500 for this.
Real quick before we move on,
Yeah,
what do we
yeah.
think about the eyes on the outside?
Cartoons.
Well, okay. Yeah, what were your thoughts, Lewis?
No, I mean, I like I said, I'm not 100% sure what we saw was actual representation of what that's going to look like. I mean,
I think it is, Lewis.
But why
think
would they
that was-
make, okay, if they were faking it, why would they still make it look bad?
well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're faking it. I'm just saying I'm not 100% sure that all the stuff we saw in those videos was actually. I mean, the stuff they made up the view, right? I mean, the stuff that you see is not.
I heard somebody say that all of the video that we saw was actual output from the headset. Everything in the presentations and the videos.
None of it was faked up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah,
We'll
I would
see.
find it hard to believe that they were just making stuff up.
Well, I mean, so what I've also read about the your face on the external display is that it's not, a live video feed of your actual face. It's it's basically an avatar, a photorealistic cartoon, basically.
Yes.
I like to say the word cartoon. Photorealistic version of your face that moves and acts like you do. And it is a representation of, when you blink or when you whatever, squiggle your nose. I don't know. What else can you do? I mean, it's a small little area, right? But I mean, I don't know. Is it creepy? Is it uncanny valley? I mean, yeah, it kind of is. But
it's also kind of genius, Lewis. Like the fact that they thought all this out, and so people can see your eyes, so you can have conversations with people with this on. Theoretically, I do think it's a little Black Mirror-ish. But then it starts to illuminate and glow like the Northern Lights when you're enjoying content, so they can see that you're occupied. So, again, these brilliant UI interactions that indicate to the outside world that you are occupied inside there. Like they know what is going on with you, right? They don't just try to start talking to you because they can see that you're in there watching Black Mirror episodes about creepy technology such as this. This
is exactly what we were talking about before, right? I mean, this is our best guess about it was that whole thing is all about keeping you engaged with the real world and letting people know what, for instance, when you're taking pictures or capturing video of them, right? Let people know that you can see them when you're not walled off in this thing, right?
One of the things I was totally amazed by, which I actually thought was really cool, look at this dad taking videos of his daughters blowing these bubbles
creepy,
with the stereoscopic cameras. They need to get these cameras out of the Vision Pro and into the iPhone, because if you're actually taking video at your kid's birthday party, your wife's not going to talk to you for 2 weeks if you show up and you wear headsets the whole time. Like, that's not going to work, man. You have to be able to be present in the
Look
moment.
how happy he is.
Yeah. Well, he's watching Netflix during this boring party he doesn't want to be at. You have to be able to create these stereoscopic videos without using the Vision Pro. That's an aside. But the thing is did you guys see Minority Report with Tom Cruise? I almost said Tom Hanks. Like, there's a scene where he's watching this really cool immersive 3D video of like his son who had died, and that was the vibe I was getting from this scene of like this guy watching his kids at the birthday party. You create this video, and then you get to like basically re-experience this memory in like 3-dimensional space. I mean, that is so incredibly powerful and a very cool feature. But again, it's only useful if you can take these videos without having to wear the headset to take them. Like, having to wear the headset, I just don't think that is going to work socially when you're out hanging out with your friends. I just don't see people hanging out in big groups. Maybe I'm totally off base. Maybe I'm having a bomber moment here. I just don't think that there's going to be big groups of people in the same room all wearing these together. I mean, it will happen, obviously, but like generally speaking, I think that's going to be kind of taboo. People generally want you to be present in real life when you're at a party or a social event.
But I think it's going to be more like for almost completely personal, private use. But when you're sitting in let's say you're sitting in your living room watching a movie, your wife walks in. It's not like she has to like come up and knock on your head to get your attention, right? You can see that she's there, and then she can see that you're coming out of your VR haze or whatever. So I think it's more like for those transition moments between when you're actually using this thing and whatever. And I could imagine like being in a workplace, and if you're 3 people are collaborating on a project or something, if in fact this thing is good for that, which I still have a hard time wrapping my head around how exactly you actually accomplish work using a screen in the sky and your fingers and your voice and your. You know what I mean? It's odd. I mean, like, and I saw like the one thing in there, like, oh, you can hand somebody a virtual 3D object and they can see it. And I was like, okay, well, it doesn't really apply to my job. But
I think it'd be really cool to edit like a Logic track in this, or use Final Cut Pro. I mean, you can just kick back and just have like your screen be massive. That would be incredible. Like productivity would. What?
How can it work?
Your eyes are the cursor. You don't even have to move your hand around.
Well,
or a mouse
I mean, I'm sure
it's awesome.
Actually, you know what? That's actually a really good question, because in my mind, I was thinking that you could still use your mouse and keyboard, which I do think they're going to have to allow for productivity. Because if they don't allow that for productivity, then this truly is going to be, a next generation iPad. It's going to churn it from being a device that you can use to actually get work done into an iPad where you just use it to consume content.
They did explicitly show that in one of the tech videos. When you plug in a mouse or like when you connect a Bluetooth mouse or keyboard, it works like the iPad pointer around the screen.
And that's just connecting it directly to the headset, and then you can use it. So I can use it to double tap and highlight a word, and then I suppose I could type.
That makes me wonder if with the what's the feature called where you can share a keyboard and mouse between like a Mac and an iPad? I don't remember what it's called. It's like continuity pointer or something.
Crossover.
Yeah.
I wonder, crossovers maybe. I wonder if that works when you connect the Vision Pro to a MacBook. The thing is, like, when you look at a MacBook, it does the 4K projection of its screen in midair. I wonder if you can then use that MacBook's keyboard and trackpad.
I would imagine that you can. That seems like a pretty obvious use case. And you kind of got me alarmed now that this is going to end up being an iPad version of, like, you're going to go from using like a Mac version of Final Cut Pro to like the iPad version where you have to have like those cursor interactions that you have on the iPad when you're using a mouse, instead of just having like a cursor and moving your cursor all around, which is actually what I would want. I would want it to still be like a Mac, but inhabited in space. I was not expecting us to talk for like 40 minutes on this. Sorry, what?
You want to edit that song as if you're standing on the top of a mountain, just surrounded by sky. And
dude, that was pretty cool, I thought. I mean, if it's really as immersive as everyone says, and it feels your whole field of view, and you could have a virtual screen in 4K out in the distance while you're sitting on a mountaintop, I'm not going to say no to that experience,
Man,
Lewis.
So the other thing that Gruber said about this that I also found astonishing, I mentioned the butterfly and the dinosaur, right? So the dinosaur thing, this dinosaur, virtual dinosaur, sticks his head through this hole in the wall, right? And the Apple rep says, "Hey, go up and get close to it." Okay. And first off, he says, "Okay, like there's a coffee table in front of me," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna bang my?" He said it was no problem at all. Just get up, walk across the room, wearing these goggles because you can completely see what's going on. And he walks up and he's standing beside this dinosaur. So just listen to this. The dinosaur was not pre-recorded. It reacted live to me, keeping eye contact with me at all times. It was spooky, and a significant part of my own lizard brain was instinctively very alarmed. I got extremely close to the dinosaur's head, and the illusion that it was real never broke down. Even up close, there's no sign it was composed of polygons stitched together or something. It looked like a 10-foot tall dinosaur that could kill me with a snap of its jaws right there in the room with me. As close to my face as a MacBook Pro display on which I'm writing these words right now.
All right, hold up a sec, guys. Our stream just got taken down off YouTube because they say that we detected copyright audio and video. I think it's because I was playing the video of the headset in the background, but I had it muted. So I wonder if the stream itself is copyrighted. But it says your stream has been temporarily blocked. Awesome. So I don't know if it's going to come back up. That was a bummer because we had a ton of people here. Well, I guess we have to just continue on and see if the stream comes back up. One sec. Let me just mention the chat. We're waiting to see if the stream comes back up. YouTube kicked us temporarily.
Meaning for the rest of the decade.
Well, hopefully not that long. Because we were playing. Because I think we were playing. Dude, that sucks. I was wondering if that was going to happen. And, it's back. Look at that. Okay, great. So I don't even have to type out this thing that I was saying. So your stream is no longer being blocked due to copyright issues. Okay, yeah. Sorry, everyone. So apparently just playing the Vision Pro video with the sound muted is enough to trigger the YouTube overlords. So that's why I had it muted, because I was like, if they play music, obviously that's going to be a big no-no. But apparently it's the video too. So I won't be playing any more video from Apple's website. Dude, you made this video to be distributed. Why would you? Actually, this may have nothing to do with Apple. It might be just purely YouTube. Sorry, that totally threw us off our conversation. Were there any last comments on the on the Vision Pro before we move on?
One last comment while we were reading from Gruber's piece. He's describing how people sort of walk in and appear in front of what you're doing. And he says, they sort of fade in as transparent ghosts, but not spooky ghosts.
That's cool. I mean, that's good to know.
You did a good job with that write-up. I mean, really, if you're interested in it, it's the best one I've read so far.
And he got to use it, obviously, right?
30 minutes. A golf cart trip, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, he did have Craig Federighi at his talk show event playing guitar.
He has a few friends.
I mean, that guy's got it all. I'm not talking about Gruber. I'm talking about Federighi. He's got great hair. He's a silver fox, and he shreds. I mean, how old is that guy? He's got to be 60 years old. He's in great shape. He's probably like TC. He could probably bench like 320. And he's a millionaire.
Apple Fitness Plus, man. He uses it every day. I'm sure that's all it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's the secret for the hair? Because if Apple has a subscription for that, I'm signing up for that. No problem.
Still Pro.
The one big thing that we didn't see that I was hoping for, which I wasn't expecting, but I was hoping for, was an increase in iCloud storage. I mean, they just keep tying more and more stuff to Apple subscriptions, and there's no increase in iCloud storage space. I mean, come on. You can build a headset that looks like it belongs in Star Trek, but you can't give me, 4 terabytes of storage on iCloud. It's just unbelievable, man. It really chaps my hide. All right, look, before we move on, I want to give a quick thank you to all of you for buying all the Cult Cloth. I mean, we just keep selling out. You guys just keep putting in these orders. And you know what? If you're going to be getting the Vision Pro, a piece of technology of that caliber, it deserves the best cleaning cloth in the
You gotta
galaxy.
keep that external screen all nice and shiny so people
That's
can
true.
see your almost eyes.
Yeah, they have to. Otherwise, they won't know when you're in there watching a video. It could create social havoc in your life. Or maybe you're not going to get the Vision Pro, but you have an iPhone. You have a camera with lenses. You got glasses. I'm here with 2 glasses users. I should send some to Griffin. I sent some to Lewis Wallace, and it literally changed his life, and it changed our show. Like, I used to think that his eyes were brown, and then he cleaned his glasses, and I was like, oh my goodness, look at those baby blue eyes. They are blue, right, Lewis? It's kind of shrunk right now.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not even joking. That is an actual real thing that happened. Like, he cleaned his glasses. I was like, dude, I could actually see your eyeballs now, and they're blue. I had no idea. I mean, that's the power of CultCloth. There's just nothing else that works as well as CultCloth. It is premium grade cleaning power for all of your tech, your glasses, your lenses. I'm still surprised. Even now, I've been selling these things for 8 years now. I am still surprised at how well they work. And if you get a pack with our new CultCloth Duo, it has a dual fiber design, short fibers on one side, long fibers on the other side, and those long fibers will reach down around anything and just pull out all the crumbs and lint and oil and everything. Like, if you use them on your glasses, like that seam where your glass meets the plastic, you can't get that clean unless you have CultCloth. The digital crown on your Vision Pro or your Apple Watch, there's no cloth out there that reaches down into those little cracks and pulls everything out, but the CultCloth does. It leaves nothing behind but sparkling glass and metal. Check it out at cultcloth.co. If you want to get some, and you'll be supporting me and supporting the show. And you can use code CultCast at checkout. You'll get 2 free carry cloths with any order of $20 plus. And I appreciate everyone buying these. I mean, we've sold, I don't even know, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
That's a lot of shiny, clean devices.
Yeah. And if you want people to see your actual eye color, this is a great way to do it, right, Lewis?
Oh, absolutely.
God, I'm so annoyed that YouTube booted us. We had tons of people here watching. We still do. We still have a lot of you, but that was just so aggravating. It's like, dude, we weren't even doing anything. It's not like I'm broadcasting a movie or something. This is a piece of Apple marketing material. Don't you want your marketing materials to go out? It's like when you broadcast a trailer on your YouTube channel and like put commentary over it, and then they strike it. It's like, dude, it's a trailer.
What was it from? Did it get to the part about like where there's a scene from Avatar or something?
No, it was just there was no movie content that I even saw. It was just people wearing the Vision Pro. Anyway, look.
Maybe they thought it was Minority Report.
We have 15 minutes left, and I gotta be walking out the door. So we gotta
move on.
We gotta be selective here. Should we let the chat decide what we should talk about next? Because we're gonna run out of time. We'll have to obviously pick up on this stuff next week. So here's what you got, chat. We could talk about iOS 17 hidden features. We could talk about let's see here. We could talk about the new Macs that came out. We're gonna give some input on that. We'll have to bump the WWDC prediction results to next week. Or I guess
no.
so. Let's bump it. I was gonna tell them who the winner was. Let's bump it and see if we could work it into next week's show. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't go super long today. I wish I could because there's just a lot of stuff left to talk about. So people want to hear us talk about Macs. Let's see here. I'm trying to hold off on the public beta, but every day is a struggle. I know. I want to do the same thing. FaceTime coming to Apple TV. Yeah, that was huge for me. They're allowing everyone to install the developer beta now. So if you sign up for a developer beta account, which is free, you can install the developer betas now. So, which I think actually makes sense because now they'll have more people testing it. All right. They're saying Macs or iOS. Let's do
Those are the 2 options, right?
Yeah. Macs. Okay, let's do Macs. We'll talk about Macs, and I'll save the iOS 17 hidden features for next week, of which there is a lot of stuff, but it will probably be an even bigger list next week. So let's do Macs. Okay, we'll do Macs. Okay, Griffin, handing it to you to talk about Macs.
So they rolled out the 15-inch MacBook Air. But the entire MacBook Air lineup went down in price. At least the M2 MacBook Airs did. The 13-inch M2 was lowered to $1099. The 15-inch M2 is introduced at $1299. It has largely the same specs as the existing 13-inch we all know and love. It starts at a slightly higher configuration. So in the 13-inch M2 MacBook Air, you have to pay like $100 to get 2 extra GPU cores. You get that. The base model 15-inch MacBook Air already comes with that. So if you price match them, it's really only like a $100 delta in price. An interesting detail about it is that this is a 15-inch laptop that doesn't have speaker holes on the left and right of the keyboard. I noticed that. You might think, oh, well, is that going to sound all crappy? No, it has 2 additional speakers compared to the 13-inch model, and the speaker holes were kind of a lie anyways. The speakers aren't always directly under there, and they could be completely filled in, and it would still sound exactly the same. The speaker holes are an illusion. They just look cool.
It's like on the iPhone with the speaker holes at the bottom.
Yeah. The 13-inch M1 MacBook Air still hangs out at $999. It's almost 3 years old, but it's still an excellent computer. The 13-inch MacBook, I hate to call it this, but the 13-inch MidBook Pro is still at $1299, which is just confusing. They gotta find out a better way to fill that gap. Like, why would you buy the 13-inch fake MacBook Pro when you could get the 15-inch M2 MacBook Air?
People love the Touch Bar.
I'm going to need a source on that.
Several people love the Touch Bar.
Moving right along, the Mac Studio gets an update to M2. The interesting thing here, really the only interesting thing, it has a higher ceiling. You can configure it now with up to 76 GPU cores, as was previously rumored, whereas other computers like the MacBook Air and the Mac Mini got a price bump when they went from M1 to M2. The Mac Studio is still holding steady at $1999, which is the same starting price as the MacBook Pro. But of course, when you get a Mac Studio instead of a MacBook Pro, you're going up a tier in processor. You're getting the M2 Max instead of the M2 Pro. So that's the sacrifice you make for portability. That's really all. It's the same Mac Studio we all know and love. Jury's still out on whether it fixes the whistling issue. They made no mention of that.
Oh, that's
obviously.
hilarious. That's fixed now?
We don't know.
Jury
Oh,
out.
It could
okay.
be.
Okay.
We'll know next week because again, these computers start shipping like next week. It's pretty quick turnaround. The Mac Pro finally gets updated to Apple Silicon. It is allegedly 3 times faster than the Intel version. It doesn't have the rumored quad M2 Max chip. That was reportedly accurate. It has the same options as the Mac Studio, M2 Max and M2 Ultra. It starts at a higher price of $7,000. For that price of the Mac Studio, of course, though, you get 6 PCI slots. The first PCI, it actually has 7. The first is filled with a bunch of Thunderbolt ports for you by default. 6 PCIe 4 slots. You get upgradable internal storage, which of course you don't have on the Mac Studio. But compared to the Intel versions, you lose the ability to upgrade the RAM and the GPU. They're saying that, I think it was funny that they were saying inside the event video that, well, you make it up though, because the performance of the M2 Ultra is equivalent to like 7 of the Afterburner cards that you would have to buy on the Intel Mac Pro. It's like, well, yeah, but you can get that on the Mac. You can get that on Mac Studio too.
That's why this is so confusing.
Like,
I just don't understand. I don't think anyone understands. I don't think anyone at Apple understands. Why do we even have the Mac Pro at this point if it's essentially just a Mac Studio except more money? I mean, I guess you have the PCIe slots, but
the Pro desktop line amongst people who want just the fastest Mac they can buy and the people who want PCI slots. Like, is the market for Mac desktops really big enough to support a dedicated computer that costs $7,000 just so you can get PCI slots?
Let's see. Jeremy Diamico from the chat saying expandability. I mean, I get that, dude, but is the expandability worth that much extra money? Maybe it is. I guess for some people it must be.
If you just definitely need it. I mean,
yeah. Yep. Because, I mean, for most regular people, the Mac Studio, I wasn't even sure that was going to be a thing. So I was thrilled to see that they actually upgraded the Mac Studio. I mean, the one big thing that I'm wondering is the Ultra, the M2 Ultra, did they fix that? I can't even articulate the problem. That design issue that was it was like a bus issue, I think, that was basically making it so that the M1 Ultra chip couldn't operate as fast as the chip actually was designed to operate because the bus wasn't big enough or something. And I'm wondering if they dialed that out in this version. Max Tech did a bunch of videos about it. They got flamed big time, but it was actually I thought it was a bad enough issue that I sold my Mac Studio. I was like, why would I pay all this money for an M1 Ultra if it's not getting the speeds that are anywhere close to where they should be? So I sold it. And I'm wondering if they have that fixed in the Mac Studio with M2 Ultra. I'm sure Max Tech will be making videos on that. But if they fix that problem, this is going to be an absolutely it's going to be an ass blaster. I mean, there's just no other way to apologize. It's going to be out of this world, man.
We'll see. This is the first release of the M2 Ultra, so we'll see. We'll know in a week's time.
Yeah, that's true. I keep trying to tell myself I don't need one of these, of which I've done several times. I'm like, I don't need one. I don't need one. I don't need one. And then there's the Mac Pro, obviously. Like, I guess the question that I ask myself, and I've heard others say, is what's the point at this point? I mean, it is cool that they completed the transition. That's great, but I don't understand what the point of the Mac Pro is. This machine is cursed. You know, it just keeps it just keeps getting changed. Its form keeps getting changed, and then they'll charge like this huge price for it, and then it will be outperformed by machines that are like, you know, $12,000 cheaper. So I'm curious to see what the benchmarks are when these two machines actually ship. Let's see, Level Remix. Are any of you getting the 15-inch MacBook Air? I'm on the fence about that. That's a compelling machine in my opinion. I even thought about selling my MacBook Pro and getting a 15-inch MacBook Air and the Mac Studio because I want to have something portable. Like, I definitely learned that for me, I need to have something portable, and the Mac Studio could sit here and do all the power crunching. But I'm doing so few videos these days that
I honestly think that the MacBook Air would be sufficient
for video work.
Yeah,
I know. My ego tells me differently, but you're probably right. Like, I'm not doing. What did they say for the new M2 Ultra? Like 12 streams of 8K ProRes. I have no plans to film 8K. I just switched to 4K. You know, because it takes up so much storage space. Crunching it is not the problem. The problem is storing it and moving it around. It takes, a 10G network to move around video like that, and it's expensive to do, although it's coming down in price. But then storing it takes up such massive amounts of space. You have to be like, Skywalker Ranch to want to film stuff and store in 8K. So, yeah, you're probably right. The new MacBook Air is probably all people need. Sorry, did we cover all the Mac stuff? I think I could push farther. We could probably go a little bit longer if we want to do iOS 17 stuff as well. Do we have any other Mac commentary? Do we make it through everything?
We took almost as much time as Apple did talking about the Macs.
Yeah.
They just whipped right through it. Shocking.
Well, they had to make time to talk about all the new stuff. Yeah. Okay, well, before we move on, let me at least mention that one of my favorite features that they announced we were going to do autocorrect. We got to do that too. The autocorrect update, Lewis. Okay, hold on.
That could always wait till next week. You're talking about things that could wait till next week. I mean, I've had a handful of days to use it.
Could you use some more time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of all things, I'd rather talk about the giveaway because that's got a limited shelf life.
Okay, yeah, let's do that real fast. Giveaway.
Yeah, we got a great giveaway. This is a product that's been great in the Cult of Mac store. People, if you have a bicycle, you want to keep track of it.
Maybe an electric e-bicycle.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for that. This is a AirTag bike reflector mount. Is made by Device Therapy. We're giving away 3 of them this time. So I don't know if you've seen this thing. We've written about it. We've reviewed it. It's pretty clever. You take it. It's got this little plastic case that you kind of hide an AirTag in, and on the top of it you put a bike reflector, and then you just zip tie it to your bike, so it looks like a regular old bike reflector. But it's an AirTag. And if somebody steals your bike, they don't. Maybe they don't notice that there's an AirTag, and they don't realize that you're following them in your car with your.
With your giant binoculars over your eyes.
Yeah. But other people mention like, hey, you got a kid that's got a bike and they're always leaving it, around the property and they don't know where it is. Perfect way to find it. So it's a great thing. Yeah, and also you wouldn't have to just strap this to a bike. I mean, you could put it on a. I don't know. I don't know what else you'd put it on, but anything that needs a reflector, you could put it on your what are those things called? Lawnmower. People steal lawnmowers, don't they? Put it on your
in
four-wheeler.
San Francisco, it's
all
anything
kinds
that's
of
not
things.
bolted down, right? So you could literally put this on anything.
Yeah, and it's a cool little thing. As always with our giveaways, you go to the homepage, you scroll down to the giveaway thing, click on the post. There's a bunch of ways to enter. I think this is up for like a week, so it's already live. So, get on it if you want to. Think we're giving away 3. Thanks to Device Therapy for giving us those to give away, and there you go.
Cool. And I put a link in the chat if you guys want to enter to win. I know sometimes people hesitate to enter to win stuff, but all I'm telling you is you got a chance. You got a chance to win this. Maybe more of a chance than you think you have. Possibly less. I don't know what you're thinking, but it could go either way. All right, well, since we have some more time, let's talk about iOS 17. Let me pull this up. iOS 17... Oh, actually, let me back up because there was one feature I was going to mention before we talked about iOS 17, and that was this tvOS 17 feature that they talked about in the keynote. I really love this continuity camera trend that we have going on where you can just use your iPhone camera to connect as a webcam for literally anything. And I think it's really cool how Apple allows your different devices to work together. I mean, that's also uniquely Apple. And one of the things that I often do, so I do a book club with my wife. She makes me do it. With our friends.
You can read?
Yeah, not fast, but, several words per minute. And we're doing this book club, and every time we do it, it looks like we're broadcasting from a cave in Afghanistan. The lighting's terrible. My wife has a really old MacBook Air, and it's also hard to position it because you got to put it on like the coffee table ahead of you, and it's a pain. And we have to look at the screen, right, to interact with the people that we're doing the book club with. So when I saw this feature, I was like, this is actually genius. So tvOS 17 and iOS 17 will allow you to use FaceTime on your TV. And I have a TV. Do people even have TVs anymore? I do. I love having a big screen TV. I know a lot of people watch like shows and stuff on their iPads and their iPhones even, which is blasphemy to me. But if you do have a TV, you'll be able to plop your iPhone in front of the TV with the cameras facing you, and it will use center stage and everything to like show you to the people that you're FaceTiming with, and you'll see the people that you're FaceTiming with on the TV, which is a really cool and super useful feature in my opinion, because it adds a whole new functionality to tvOS. So that was definitely one of my favorite features that they announced. Apple said the video or the new feature will work with video conferencing apps, Zoom and WebEx, and will launch on tvOS later this year. And I'm sure, obviously, FaceTime. Did they say FaceTime? Yeah, it's in the title. There you go.
The only problem I can foresee with that is that your eye line might be like
a little low.
2 or 3 feet away from like the where you're actually looking on the screen. Like if you're looking at a TV, your camera's going to be like 2 feet below where you're looking. Like when we do these live streams, I make sure my camera is like as low as possible, and I crowd all of our show notes and our Skype calls right up next to it so that I'm not looking way off center of where my eyes are for the camera.
Well, if you put
we'll have to see about that.
What you need is something like this. So I should sell these dang things because I talk about them so much. So I have like a little MagSafe stand that I bought on Amazon, and this is actually similar to what they used in the actual keynote. And you just attach your iPhone to it, right? And then you can just put it in front of your TV like this. It will block a little bit of your TV, I think. And then it will, I imagine, zoom in to, if you're sitting kind of far away, Apple had to have, thought all this out. And I don't know if it will like adjust your eyesight to make it look like you're looking at the camera, but you're going to be looking in that general direction. But it would be weird if you had it off to the side. Like, obviously that would be a little bit strange. Okay, let's talk about iOS hidden features. I had a big old list here. A bunch of these I grabbed from Mac Rumors, some of them from Cult of Mac, so they're all intermixed. I forget which is which, but I had the idea as I was doing research for the show notes, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't know where I got all this stuff. So I apologize. I can't actually tell you where these sentences. Some sentences came from Mac Rumors, some of them came from Cult of Mac. Let me pull this up real fast, and we'll talk about some of the features that I thought were pretty cool that they didn't actually announce on stage, because obviously they didn't have enough time. But this is some cool stuff that is coming to iOS 17. Let's see here. Let's start with this one. Where am I? If you have an Apple Watch paired to your iPhone, Apple has added an optional button in Control Center that enables you to ping your watch if you've misplaced it. Pretty cool. Because right now you could ping your phone from your watch, which I do literally every day, multiple times per day, because I'm always forgetting where I put my phone. But now you'll be able to do it the other way around. Let's hear. When pulling down on the Home Center screen to access search, you'll see some neat new contextual tricks that have been added to Siri suggestions, like suggestion to create a timer or a new notes if you've used those apps recently. When you search for a specific app like Photos, you'll get shortcuts for your next action, like allowing you to jump into your favorites album, for example. You also finally get multiple timers in the clock app. It only took, 10 years? Maybe longer? In Safari, Apple has added a new Listen To page option in the menu. And if you tap on it, you have the option to have Siri read the contents of your current page. That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I mean, because how often do you actually want to read an article? You could just have your iPhone read it to you. I thought that was useful. Let's see. When viewing photos, Apple has enhanced visual lookup in a few ways, the most notable being the ability to find recipes for similar dishes when meals are recognized in the picture. They're going to recognize your meals?
That seems nutty.
That seems like it won't be super accurate, but okay. In the iOS 16 weather app, you can only view the current day in the next 10 days. But in iOS 17, this is funny. I actually have always wanted this feature. In iOS 17, you can view the current day, the next 10 days, and the weather from the previous day. Which, okay, Griffin's nodding over there. So you have also wanted to view. Do you have it installed?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Oh, you guys both have it installed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you? Get with the program.
That is useful because, sometimes you just want to know how hot it was the day before.
I don't see it.
It's not in there yet?
Nope.
Okay, well, let's see here. What else do we have? I lost my spot.
I got one. It's similar to like the spotlight search thing. If you search for a name of a setting in settings, sometimes you'll have an option to turn it on or off directly from the search field. You don't even have to open the settings app.
Oh, there you go.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work for everything. I imagine they'll probably roll out more implementations of that as the betas go on, but it's in there.
Yeah, and that whole search thing is just improved in all kinds of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Much more useful.
Here's one. Oh man! So when they announced contact posters, I was like, "Let me get this straight. You're gonna allow me to create a picture that will show up on anyone's phone when I call them? That seems like a bad idea." But apparently Apple thought this through, and they have added a new feature called opt-in blurring, which will be applied to sensitive images sent in messages, AirDrop, contact posters for phone apps, FaceTime messages, and third-party apps. The feature will prevent adult iPhone users from being subjected to unwanted imagery. All nudity will be blocked, but can be viewed, if you're so curious, by tapping the show button. When you get that contact poster and you're like, ew, Now I'm just curious.
I wouldn't like to be on the team that had to train their image set for that.
Oh, jeez.
Neither would I, but I'm sure they were well compensated. Let's see here. When creating a list of reminders in the Reminders app in iOS 17, you can now select a groceries list option that will cause your iPhone to automatically organize food items into categories for easier shopping. I thought that was handy. Oh man, here's a great one. iOS 17. Why do I keep saying that? These are obviously all for iOS 17. I lost my spot. Where was I? Right. Family Passwords is designed to let you share your passwords and passkeys with friends and family members. Super handy. Using the password section of the Settings app, you can create a group of people to share passwords with. But I hope you have some iCloud storage left. Don't have any left? You can always buy an Apple One subscription for $35 a month. That's an option. Apple Maps is catching up with Google by letting iPhone users download maps for offline use. Oh, here's one for you, Lewis. Apple TV's karaoke feature is about to get more immersive. Starting with tvOS 17, Apple Music Sing will support continuity camera, allowing users to see themselves on the TV via a wirelessly connected iPhone camera. So now you can see all your dance moves, too.
I cannot wait to try this one out.
I've got a great one.
Okay.
On the astronomy lock face, that lets you pick a nice little lock face with satellite imagery of the Earth.
Huh?
You can also pick the other planets in the solar system.
Oh, that's cool.
Perfect for Martians.
Yeah. Well, that will come into play
that
shortly.
Makes me really curious. If humans ever land on Mars, will it show the green dot on Mars where you are? They better be working towards that.
We're getting prepped for the alien landing. I'm convinced. I mean, you just had that quote unquote whistleblower talking about aliens the other day. Now Apple's setting up the lock screen so that you can, be prepared when they land to make their planet your lock screen image. We're getting prepped. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? iPhone users will be able to present a driver's license ID stored in the Wallet app at participating businesses and venues starting later this year. Users will simply hold their iPhone or Apple Watch near the business's iPhone to verify their age and identity for things like alcohol, rental cars, and more. So we're one step closer to not even needing an ID anymore. Apple has made a small but notable change to the App Store so that it now tells users how long an app will take to download once it's started. A little useful feature. Let's see. Apple improved the image recognition capabilities of the iPhone, which means the Photos app, I can't talk anymore. I'm losing it, is now able to recognize pets. I just thought of a joke. I'm not going to tell it. It's going to get me in trouble. I'll just say, how interesting would it be if you knew someone that accidentally showed up in your pets list? You're like, that's not a dog. That's a person. Gotta train the Photos app. So that's useful. I have a dog, and she's in tons of pictures. And if the Photos app could find her face, that would be cool. But I'm gonna shortly not be able to use the Photos app anymore because I'm completely out of iCloud storage and I have no options. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe move all those 4K videos from my iCloud storage account to a platform that actually will display videos in 4K, unlike iCloud Photos, because it stores the videos just fine, and it will charge you for that, but good luck trying to watch a video in 4K. That's not possible.
I've been asking for the pet detection thing for years. When I was at WWDC last year, and they had like the little few hour sessions where you could like talk to Apple engineers.
Oh, really?
I went up to like no fewer than like 3 or 5 of the developers on the Photos team just to independently ask all of them to add that feature.
So we have you to thank for this.
So
you've got great sway.
So let me get this straight. Does it can identify Fluffy from Fido, or is it just
I haven't been able to test how it works yet because I don't know if it's a bug, but it hasn't. I think my Photos library hasn't up. Oh, I just launched it again, and it looks like I'm seeing an album for my dog Indy, and it's asking me to give her a name. So I'm going to type that in right now.
You named your dog Indy.
Yeah,
you did it.
Well, my last name is Jones. Her middle name is Anna. I'll let you piece it together.
That's hilarious.
Well, and the next screen is saying, oh yeah, review photos. Deselect photos that are not Indy, just like she's a person. And yep, all of those are of Indy. There you go. Wow. Now I've got an album of, and it's showing not just all of these pets in my photos. It's giving me separate albums for. Sorry, I just tested it live on the show. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, you know what I was just gonna say is that your indie thing works on multiple levels because who is he named after? He was named after the dog.
Indiana Jones.
You know what?
Yeah, what?
Mine's like that too. It's got multiple pets that I've owned, or like my mom's poor dead cat. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's two of one cat that. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Okay, moving on here. Choosing the add sticker option. All emoji are now considered stickers and can be used in the Messages app like stickers, with emoji listed right alongside Memoji stickers and sticker packs that you've downloaded from the App Store. You can also create your own stickers from pictures that you've taken. So choosing the add sticker option ports the selected subject into the sticker interface. From there, you can add an effect to it or delete it. Effects include adding a white sticker outline, a puffy sticker effect, a glittery effect, and more. And you can also, there's an option to create animated stickers from live photos, which actually gives a cool new life for live photos. Okay, hold on a second. I have to ask a question. I was kind of like preoccupied when they were talking about the messages part of the keynote. Are they going to allow you to use emoji as reactions to individual messages now? Is that a thing? Did you guys? Okay.
And all of the tap and hold on this image to cut out a subject of it, you can use those as stickers as well.
Okay, but I guess I'm not talking about stickers. I'm talking about pressing and holding a message to add a reaction to it. And currently it's like the haha or the exclamation point. But in all other messaging apps, you can add any emoji you want as a reaction to those stickers. Is that changing? Do you know if that's changing? Try it, Lewis.
I will know.
I don't see that. I just still see the same six things.
Oh, man.
The heart, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the haha.
That is so lame. Like we have a whole massive library of emoji available to us to react to messages, and Apple gives us 6 of their own design. I mean, it makes no sense. It's one of my biggest issues with the Messages app, amongst many. Okay, let's see here. Last one, and if I find any more, we'll do more of these next week. Starting with iPadOS 17, the built-in camera on the studio display and other external displays can be used with iPads for FaceTime calls and other video purposes. This functionality is available for any iPad model equipped with a USB-C port. So there you go. Those are all the hidden ones that I thought were interesting. I'll keep scouring because this is always one of my favorite segments to do. I don't know if people like listening to this. Maybe it's dry radio. But there's all the marquee features, of course, which are great. But then there's a ton of stuff that's cool that they just couldn't make it into the keynote, and you would never even necessarily know it was there unless someone mentioned it. So I feel like this segment is not only entertaining, but edifying. Would you agree, Lewis?
It's helpful. It's news you can use.
News you can use. Let's see. Do you want to talk about autocorrect, your experience with autocorrect before we wrap up? I have the greatest. I'm going to wrap up the show with what I consider to be the greatest tweet of the year. And I thought I would promote it here on the show because when I saw it, I was like, this product that this tweet is about is so unbelievably ironic at this point that I just had to show it on the show. But before we do that, do you want to talk about autocorrect? Because that was obviously one of the big things they talked about with iOS 17. It's a horrendous garbage pile right now, and please tell me there's hope, Lewis.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've actually been using it a little bit here the last couple of days, and I've actually had it change something from the wrong thing to the right thing, which is
that's a great
step in the right direction.
Progress.
They made a lot of talk about the predictive text input too, and I haven't actually noticed that much difference with that. I mean, the interface has changed. It looks different, and like the word that you're putting down there is highlighted as it's going. The whole thing works kind of different. I'm still actually trying to work through exactly how much better or worse it all is. I mean, to me, the typing seems about the same. I'd say the dictation seems marginally better. But this is the very first beta, right? I mean, it seems like it's moving in the right direction. I I wrote and was this close to publishing a post last week about the one thing I want out of iOS 17 was for voice recognition to get better, because it's the thing that I use more than almost anything. And it just, in recent years, just keeps getting worse and worse. So at least Apple now acknowledges that that's a problem and that it should be better. So I'm glad that they're at least paying attention to it. And, it's not perfect yet, but it seems to me better. You have that same kind of reaction there, Griffin?
Yeah, I don't feel like I've had as many problems with dictation as you have. I want to take advantage of the fact that I have so many like big collections of iPhones that I want to do like a little scientific test of whether it actually has gotten better or worse over time. That's a video that's been sitting in the bucket for a while in my back pocket. I want to make that at some point. I don't know. I feel like it works. Not every, I'd say it works about like 80% success rate for me. Maybe I just have a better voice for dictation. I don't know.
It must
Maybe I sound
be
like a Californian.
your perfect enunciation. And people always tell me that I sound like a surfer. I mean, I was born in Southern California, and maybe I was programmed to, like, people always say, like, when you say churn, it sounds like you're saying CHURN. I'm like, yes, I realize that. But shouldn't Siri know that? Like, if I talk about churning around, shouldn't it know that I'm not talking about, churning butter around? It's like it should know that I'm talking about turning around.
The part that's frustrating about it is that it gets it right and then it changes it. At least that was my experience in iOS 16 more than ever before.
Yeah.
And it's ludicrous. I put something on Twitter, it's like I said I was reporting a darts match results or something. I said something about, there's a problem with forfeits, and got it exactly right. And as I'm watching it, getting ready to press send, it's changed it to something different. And finally, it came up with, no, it should be for Fitz, like a person named Fitz. Like I know anybody on the planet named Fitz.
That is like the perfect
Capital
example.
Fitz.
Because that kind of thing happens to me all the time, where it will change the words to a context, to words that have absolutely nothing to do with the context of your sentence structure. It's like it has a hard time understanding when words should belong in a sentence with other words.
It's just honestly, it's like this actually applies to darts. You can't go around thinking too much. That's what it thinks too much. It gets it right, and if it just went with its gut reaction, it would be fine. But no, it has to think and think and think and change and tinker. And next thing you know, you've just sent somebody a message that makes zero sense at all. When, as you were watching it be dictated, it worked. It was absolutely what you said. But then in the end, just as you're pressing send, it changed it. Yep. That is a critical flaw.
That's the part, right? Like when your thumb is coming down and the momentum can't be stopped at that point.
Yeah.
It's on the way down, and like right before it hits the button, it's like bloop, it just changes it to something completely different.
Luckily, you can edit and unsend if you're, dealing with other Apple people. But it's, I don't know, man. I do think it's better.
If you had to put a percentage to it, how much better? 20%, 30%, 5%?
Yeah, I'd say 20% better. I mean, like I said, I haven't had it. I've had it change things in the right direction this time.
Yeah.
And that's very encouraging.
Okay. All right. So
it's based on a machine learning model, so it should hypothetically get better over time for how you write.
That's the part of this that I can't understand, because they keep saying, it's on-device machine learning. It's all you. And, of course, it's not artificial intelligence. It's translators. That was the first time I'd heard them using that term. I don't know if that's – or I'm sorry, excuse me, transformers. Is that something that they've used forever? Transformers, or is that just like brand new in the Apple lexicon?
No, and to be honest, I would have expected more of Optimus Prime and his other allies. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But so I mean, yeah, if this is all taking place on your device, you would think, for instance, that it would be pretty good at this point. It's when I say, my address, the first four numbers of my address. What's a good guess at what the next thing I might be going to say? I mean, it's entered into the phone, and I've said it like 100 times, at least in dictation. And yet, I live on Folsom Street. Often I get Folsom, Fulsome Street. It's like, come on, man. I mean, can you not? That's like the most basic thing in the world. If it can't get that, it's doomed, right? If it can't if it says it's all about you and it's personalized, so this is like goes back to that thing we were talking about with Humane, like your personalized AI, right? This is what Humane's pitch is. It's an AI that works for you and knows you. It has intimate knowledge of your street address. I mean, food allergies was the thing that they talked about that was so interesting. But I mean, street address, spelling of your name, spelling of your wife's name, these things are no brainers, and yet iOS 16 struggles with this, at least for me. So,
yeah, same here. Two thoughts. First, did you just give away your real address?
Folsom Street? I think I'm allowed to say that.
I thought you gave the number away too.
Did I?
I don't know.
I didn't hear any numbers.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but I was like,
Google
I swear
doesn't
you just
exist. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but okay. Anyway, and then the other thought was I lost the other thought. It's completely gone. It's gone. It was something great too about
the best
autocorrect,
ones always
but
get away.
in my effort to make a joke, my brain let go of the memory that I was using to reserve that other comment. Okay, let's see here. So it's a little bit better. It is a beta. Gonna get better. We'll have to give it some time. Do we have anything else? I think that might be everything except for my last.
Everything except for the one thing everybody wanted to know.
Oh, the prediction results. Do we want to do the prediction results real fast? Let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do it. Prediction results. Let's bring this up. We'll run through this real fast. If you missed the show last week, oh my god, look, you color coded everything.
Mm-hmm.
God, look at this guy.
Okay.
If you missed the show last
iOS
week,
gets redesigned Control Center.
yeah,
We heard nothing about that. We all thought it was going to happen. It didn't.
Okay,
iOS supports alternative app
Griffin,
stores.
hold on. I just want to say real fast.
Yeah.
For those that didn't listen last week, we ran through all of our expectations and we each guessed what was going to happen, and now we're going to run through the results and see who actually won. So here we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I should let you explain first.
No, it's fine.
iOS supports alternative app stores. Airfont thought it was going to happen. Liz and I both knew they weren't going to mention anything at all. iOS gets
hold on a
interactive
second.
widgets.
Hold on a second. I'm not sure I like this grading. Did it happen? Like, did it happen, but they didn't announce it?
No.
It didn't happen at all.
No.
Okay, well, it's definitely going to happen when they release iOS 17. It's going to be there. I bet you it's there now. And I'll be going back to correct the record when once it's released in Europe. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, hey, this isn't predictions for whatever will happen in the universe. This is what was going to happen during WWDC.
Well, it did happen during WWDC. They just haven't talked about it. Sorry.
Then
Continue.
did it even really happen? This is getting philosophical.
Yeah, all
and
right.
that is outside the scope of this list.
All right, continue, please.
iOS gets interactive widgets. I said no. You were all correct on that. iPadOS brings significant improvements to Stage Manager. Now, if you ask people who actually use the iPad, they will say that the minor changes they made will have a significant impact on how it's used, but they didn't do everything that the rumors said they were going to do with like freeform, audio routing or whatever, and using the iPad in clamshell mode connected to a display. So I took the L on that one. iPadOS got the same lock screen customizations on iOS. watchOS did get reimagined with widgets and like new redesigned apps and everything. Didn't get custom watch faces. tvOS, I timed it.
At least we got
3 minutes
Snoopy,
talking about tvOS.
a cartoon no one's seen for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many seconds was it?
It was 3 minutes.
Dude,
Wow.
I swear, TC, he is bringing his childhood to life using Apple as a vehicle. Like, this whole Snoopy thing is totally bizarre. Who watches Snoopy anymore? Snoopy has been a dead franchise for at least 30 years, and yet they still continue pushing the cartoons. We got the watch face now. It's like, what is going on? It has to be a TC thing.
It's part of Apple TV's kids programming, man. They are the place for that.
And that just further affirms my point.
Whole new generation of kids, man.
I don't know. I mean, that's like trying to bring back the Three Stooges at some point. It's Peanuts, not Snippy. Okay. I just think that there's certain content that worked really well in a certain era, and those eras end, and then the content doesn't work anymore. I mean, it's almost like what's going on with Disney and Star Wars, to be honest with you. I mean, the whole franchise seems to be crashing. They paid all this money for it, and they just can't make any successful content with it for a variety of reasons. I'm going off track here. Let's continue. Sorry, Griffin, go ahead.
15-inch MacBook Air was announced with near identical specs to the current model. Updated Mac Studio with M2 Max and M2 Ultra. A new Mac Pro was teased, not just teased, but announced. I was pessimistic on any new computers coming out, but Lewis got 3 for 3 on the Macs.
Son of a gun. How does that happen?
I know. You see, you always bet against the Mac Pro, and you're right like every time for like 10 years straight. And then the one time we started up this prediction game, oh well. Apple headset.
All right.
It was not called Reality Pro. 3 core
I
features.
said no to that? I'm proud of myself. Okay.
3 core features are FaceTime, productivity, and fitness, not gaming, right on almost every account, but they didn't talk about fitness, which almost kind of surprised me. Only one color option, of course. External display shows 2 cartoon eyes to indicate you're in AR mode.
See, I got this right on accident because in my mind, what I kept visualizing was like these big white text blinky eyes, like almost like anime cartoons or something. And what they created was so different from that. The other thing, just complete aside here, the FaceTime, they don't call it an avatar. What do they call that thing? Like
the persona.
The persona? Dude, I just don't see that catching on. FaceTime is such an intimate thing. Like, you want to see the person. That's the whole point of the call. And now you're going to create a digital representation of that person. I just don't see that becoming a thing. But it's better than what I thought that they were going to show, where it's like, you know, like I almost tweeted about this, but then they did the digital persona, and I was like, oh, the tweet's ruined. This would have been a great tweet. But like, what you see is this beautiful image of the person talking, you know, and then you see them floating in space. But then what they see is this. Like nothing but your bloodshot eyeballs, you know, like just like filling in the mask because that's all I can see in there. It's like, oh, cool, great FaceTime experience.
That
hey,
product
Mom, it's
would not
me.
be successful.
Except it's encapsulated in like a little, you know, it's like. So I'm glad they figured out a solution for how to show what you look like while you're wearing a mask. I still don't think that it's the best solution, but what else can they do? They could go with my suggestion, but I don't think they will. Okay, Griffin, sorry. Enough jokes. Back to the show. Serious mode.
Nobody said metaverse. We're all correct on that.
Yeah.
The headset is given a price of $29.99. We all arrived at this for different reasons. You thought it was going to go with the rumors and it was actually going to be $29.99, but it wasn't. Lewis voted no because he thought the price is going to be different.
Cheaper,
and he was correct, but not in the way he wanted because it was $35.99 or like $34.99. I voted no because I didn't think they were even going to talk about price at all, but I was accidentally correct. So that's.
I feel like technically I won this one because the intention was accurate. Like, it's going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But
right. It's like, you know, the whole Price is Right thing or whatever, you know, like
That's
get the
exactly
price
right.
closest without going over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys all chose $1. Okay.
The event runs over 2 hours. I listened back to last week's show. I was so close to voting yes on this, but you guys talked me out of it at the last minute. I shouldn't
wait
have
a
listened to
second.
you.
How long was it? Like 2 hours and 3 minutes?
It was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Was it
Or like
really?
2 hours,
Did it
10
really go
minutes, 2
50? I
hours.
thought it was like
5.
205 or
Yeah,
something.
me too. I thought it
205,
was like
yeah.
something nominal like that. Okay.
But yeah.
Tim Cook appears live on stage to introduce the event. I still think it would be cool if they did that.
Me too.
And I'm almost surprised they didn't because they love that crowd shot where they pan over everybody and you see all those packed seats and everybody cheering loud. I'm kind of surprised
they
they
kind of
haven't.
did do this. They had all the YouTubers, you know, in the audience watching a screen outside, and Tim Cook appeared to talk to them, but it was you know, part of the video. So.
Mm-hmm. A normal feature is introduced as quote unquote AI powered. They actively avoided using not just AI but like machine learning. Used to be like the word they would throw around like, you know, every other sentence. They came up with new terminology. They started using different terminology, as Lewis mentioned, calling them like transformer models instead of saying machine learning or AI to actively avoid it.
Yeah, that
That
was
is
weird.
interesting. I
It's
wonder
weird.
if it's because I mean they've created all these new marketing terms that are exclusive to their device so that no one can, you know, copy them because no one can use this terminology that they have created. Like, I wonder if somebody else comes out with a headset, can they call it spatial computing, or is that, you know, copyright Apple Corporation? So they don't want to use words that other people can use because then those people can encroach on the functionality of their device and marketing. Right, whereas right now it's like, can you have a digital persona or a spatial computer? Like those are only things Apple can have, I bet.
I think they just want to separate themselves from like the hype cycle of like AI powered chatbots and AI
maybe.
this and AI
That's
that.
true.
That's my guess. It's probably like a really obvious, but then again, we'll have to see if like spatial computing is actually a trademarked term. I don't think it is.
I don't even think it was, they capitalized it in their press release.
Yeah. So anyways, the winner scores Lewis 14, Airphone 12. I got 9.
There you go.
Out of
Congratulations,
20.
Lewis.
It feels
You
great to
lucky.
be a champion.
Oh man, I was right on your tail though. I almost got you. And you know what? I feel like I won in spirit because Lewis got a lot of these right on accident. You know
Come
what I mean?
on.
Like, come on. I was intentional with my answers. You got so many of these wrong on or right on accident. Let's see here.
Which?
And you know, I came up with a lot of these picks, so these are all like my random crackpot theories. You know, next time we do this game, I want you guys to write random picks that are outside the rumor mill too.
Oh yeah.
I love this game. Let's do it
this
again
was
next
fun.
year.
I
Yeah.
gotta say, Griffin, we should do this again. We should also have you write them again. I like it better when you do it and I just get to participate. You know, it's like showing up to a picnic or something. All right. Well, congratulations, Lewis. You lucky son of a gun.
You
Let's
win
wrap up
nothing.
with this one tweet. In what must be the most amazing stroke of irony that I've ever seen. Do you remember the headset, the Dyson headset that we clowned on endlessly, like that $1,000, $1,400 headphones that had the weird vacuum
The Bane
thing?
special.
The Bane special headphones. First of all, it was Dyson making headphones, which was hilarious to me because I'm like, I know you guys got the vacuum thing locked in, but now you're doing headphones. You're not really known for audio. And then they decided to tie headphone technology to their weird vacuum technology and created a set of headphones. What were those things called? Let me see if I can find it. This will be a good setup. Dyson headphones. Let's see here.
The Zone.
The Dyson Zone air purifying headphones, right? I was on to something. MKBHD made a video about this, and you know, it got tons of views because this really is one of the most ridiculous products that I've ever seen in my entire life. And it is a pair of headphones that have like a band that goes over your head like normal headphones, and then it looks like it has a band that goes in front of your mouth. And the idea being that it will like clean the air and like pump clean air into your face. This is like something out of like Total Recall. And I was just thinking to myself, who would ever wear such an odd contraption on their face? And like, who needs clean air this bad? They would have to spend all this money to wear this thing. I mean, look at that. I rest my case. Well, tweet of the year right here. I'm sure you all know what's happening with the smoke in New York City coming down from Canada. It's basically Blade Runner at this moment. You could barely see through the atmosphere. And this girl tweeted, "Who's laughing now, Lewis?" And she's got on the Dyson purifying headphones. She said, "I was skeptical of the Dyson Zone until New York's worst air pollution ever." And she's walking around looking like a genius, getting great audio quality, sniffing the freshest air that a Dyson headphone can muster. You're breathing in the smoke, coughing and hacking, but not Kate Kozuch. She's breathing that sweet, clean air like they did on Mars in Total Recall. There you go. Best tweet of the year. Who would have saw that coming? And as we get closer to the impending apocalypse, I think we might all want something like this. So maybe these are actually genius.
Maybe this will be an expansion pack to the Vision Pro.
The Vision Pro air purifier. Okay, well, you know what? That's it. We've been going for like 3.5 hours. Yeah, we've been streaming for like almost 2 hours. This is unreal. I didn't sign up for this much CultCast in one day.
No
But
one did.
that's it. I got nothing left. My tongue is completely dry. So I think we should go ahead and wrap it up there. But you know what? We'll be back next week, of course, with even more amazing insights about the Vision Pro and more iOS 17 features and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about and break down. But the party continues on Twitter. It's always there. I'm at Airfon. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Just Google Griffin Mastodon. He'll be the first result. He's the only one there. You can interact with him there. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and hanging out live, and for staying tuned even when YouTube tried to ban us. That was crazy. That was a first. And we'll see you guys next time. If there is a next time. I don't know. After that, after what just happened there, I don't know if YouTube will let us come back. We dared to play a video on Apple's website. You know, the marketing videos that they spend a bunch of money on to promote their products that they don't want you to play for an audience of tens of thousands of people.
How are we going to get invited to Apple events now, Airfond? Look what you've done.
The music is so loud in my headphones, Griffin, that I barely heard a single word that you just said. Sorry.
It's like it bumped down the audio levels.
Well, then it bumps it down for the production, too.
No, I mean, it's like it did bump down the audio levels.
Oh, it did?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, look.
Quieter.
I gotta end the stream. Bye, y'all.